Africa billing itself as a prime investment destination. South Africa and Nigeria spearheading the case. China already invests heavily on the continent. Western nations, many limping on the back of the Eurozone crisis, are more wary. For many in the developed world, Africa still represents a risk. Despite this, Africa's economic growth is snowballing.
I think there's evidence that Africa is growing. There's also evidence that African leaders have collectively come together to do things that is going to make Africa to move forward. We have collectively dealt with the issue of democracy in the continent of Africa. We are entrenching democratic rule. We have also dealt with the issue of the infrastructure because we realized that the colonial legacy left us different or acting differently whilst we were in one continent.
Countries ravaged by wars, political and economic instability dampen appetite for foreign investment, a point hammered home by Nigeria's president.
The African continent has been reasonably de-risked because governments are stable. And because the political system is stable, it also affects the economic planning. If you look at it before this time, we had a lot of volatility in terms of the economic indices. Inflation was very staggering. In terms of exchange rates, unpredictable. But now most countries, exchange rate has been reasonably stable. So businessmen can make predictions.
Investors favor countries with equitable labor practices, no political interference or bureaucratic red tape.
We were the first investor into South Sudan, I think, of any kind. Great big brewery there next to Juba, just after independence. And what is interesting is that we obviously assessed all the risk factors which were there and are still there in South Sudan. But that brewery went in relatively small. It ran out of capacity within 6 months. We doubled it. It ran out of capacity again within a year. We've doubled it again. And we will no doubt double it again in the next couple of years. So that's what you get.
On the sidelines of the summit, President Zuma says government needs to engage mining firms about proposed shaft closures and retrenchments.
We are saying we are a constitutional democracy. We must engage. We must all appreciate the problem.
Amplats is restructuring and it could shed about 14,000 jobs. It's been criticized by Mining Minister Susan Shabangu and the ANC. But the president was more conciliatory, saying government was not threatening a license review. Mzwandile Mbeje, SABC News, Davos, Switzerland.